Welcome to Grace. Never heard of her. I'm Gina.
And I'm Maddie. We're two moms, two friends, two overstimulated women navigating motherhood, new identities, and careers, all while challenging society's expectations and redefining what it means to do it all.
Because Grace, well, never heard of her, but word is she's worth getting to know.
Hey, Gina.
Hi. Are you staying warm?
No. No, I'm not. It is the snowiest winter. I can't tell you the last time, well, I haven't been here, but I don't think it's been this snowy the past few years.
When I was considering moving back to Chicago, and I was like, oh, but the winters, every single one of my Chicago friends were like, it has not been that bad, truly. Because I think we were gone for, 4 years. They're like, the last 4 winters have been so mild. It is
Lies.
negative 22.
No.
I'm not making, like, that's not an exaggeration. It has been such a bad winter. And I'm just like, you bitches. Come on back. It's not bad.
Right.
I giggle anytime I see, like, the worst winter in a century. I'm like, cool. Yep,
Okay.
that makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
Well, if it makes you feel better, Tyler had to go to Dallas. Just, quick. It was supposed to be like a 3-day trip, turned into a 24-hour trip. And it was 40s or 50s there. So
Wow.
it's not like we're missing 70 degrees like it used to be.
I know. So I texted my whole family and I was like, are you guys okay? Is everybody prepared for this storm? Because have you seen Ted Cruz?
He left.
He jet. He went on a plane to California. I've been seeing all these memes that's like, oh, don't worry, hunker down, make sure you have food and water. And then it's like, but did you see Ted Cruz left? And they're like, oh my God, this is going to be awful. So I hope everybody stays warm, stays safe.
Yeah.
I was going to ask what horrible thing happened in your house this week because Tyler left, but it was only 24 hours, so maybe it wasn't too bad.
Wasn't too bad. It's interesting. The kids aren't usually that impacted when one of us goes away. I think this time they totally were off because Tyler was gone, and it was really, I guess it's cute. Zoe, the other morning, we're in the car, we're getting ready to go to school, and she's like, "Mama, my heart hurts." And I was
Oh,
like, "What?" And she was like, "My heart hurts because I miss Dada and I love Dada."
oh my God. So
I
sweet.
know. And I'm like, "How do you know to say your heart hurts?"
Right. So in tune with her emotions.
I know. And then Parker. Parker was definitely, he was the most thrown off out of the two of
That
them.
surprises me
I know.
because I
It
feel like
surprised me.
Parker is more attached to you.
Yes. I don't know what got into him. So Zoe's saying her heart hurts. Then Parker's like, "Mama, I was sad. I was sad in bed." And I was like, "Park, why were you sad in bed?" And he just goes, I want daddy."
Oh my gosh.
I
Tyler.
know. You can't leave,
Once again,
Tyler.
stop leaving. The family crumbles. No. Oh, that's so sweet. What does that do to you when you hear that? Are you like, "Oh, that's so great, they love their dad," or are you like, "Wow, wish you guys cared this much about me?"
So I think, I mean, we've talked about it. Zoe used to cut deep because she went through
Yeah.
like a long Dada's girl phase. I think it's way more balanced now where she's definitely like will come to me for things, will go to Tyler for things, but is very much like gives her love away. And then Parker's usually more about me. So anytime they say stuff like that, I'm like, cute. I mean, even before, I never cared. It's
I
like a
know.
small dagger, but It's a
Right.
phase. Go through it, right?
Yeah. That's awesome. I could not handle that. So thank God my boys are obsessed with me. It's a double-edged sword, as we know, but Chris and I always talk about it. He's like, "It's better me than you," because I would be just crying myself to sleep every night. So you're a rock star, but I'm glad Tyler's back.
Yeah, but also you had a a rough go at this week.
One of my best friends here, Katie said it best. She's like, "I need to perform a seance on your immune system. Like, what is going on?" So I think the last time I updated you, I had strep and I got on antibiotics and that did nothing. Because I never had strep symptoms, or at least I didn't think I did. It was always my sinus and cough. And
Yeah.
so I went back after like 10 days and I'm like, listen, I'm not well. Help me. So they're like, we're going to give you a stronger antibiotic. What I didn't know, and this, I feel like my head buried in the sand because apparently everybody else knows, is this type of antibiotic. It's called Augmentin. It's really, really strong. You have to take it with food. You should be taking a probiotic because it can really wreak havoc on your GI system. And if you don't know where I'm going with this, that is exactly what happened. I
Oh, no.
died. I died. Like I could not believe it. I was chatting with ChatGPT like daily and I was like,
Your
"Are you
doctor.
sure?" My doctor. I was like, "Are you sure this is normal? Like I can't get off the bathroom floor." And it's like, "Yep, I know. Augmentin can do that to you." I mean, I was horizontal. I could not lift my head up. Like it was crazy. I didn't throw up. Like I didn't have any of those actual symptoms. I didn't have a fever, but I had
Yeah.
every other feeling that leads up to that, like clammy, chills, body aches. I finally feel better today, thank God. But I all I have to say is thank God for Pedialyte and friends because I don't know about you, but when I'm sick, I want babied, I want coddled, I want nurtured. I hate being sick. I mean, I know nobody likes it, but I think because so few times does a sickness wipe me out, like truly, that when that happens, I'm like, I need somebody to take care of me. And Chris, because I was so sick, was 100% on kid duty the last few days and then, had work and just trying to keep everything afloat. And so he couldn't really give me that attention. And so I texted Katie yesterday and I was like, "Hey, are you busy at work today?" She's like, "No, not at all." And I was like, "Will you come over and rub my head and nurture me?" And she's like, "Oh my God, absolutely. I'll be there in 20 minutes."
Oh, the
And
best.
this is so, I mean, granted, I also started my period today, so like this tracks. But she got, she actually beat me because I went to CVS to get Zofran because I was so effing nauseous. So I come in the house, she's sitting on the couch waiting for me, and I just instantly started crying. I was just so touched and just so happy to have a friend like that I could just call to just come sit with me and rub my head and tell me it's gonna be okay.
Right?
So, Katie, thank you. Thank you so much. And, Katie and I've talked about her so much on the pod. She's been a guest on our pod. For context, Katie and I met through our now husbands. So, Chris and his best friend, Nate, were roommates living in Chicago. And Nate started dating Katie 2 weeks before Chris and I started dating.
I don't think
So,
I knew that.
yeah. So we just
Wild.
met. We were like the girlfriends.
Yeah.
And what's funny is, how age doesn't matter the older you get. We were very young. So Katie, I think, is 4.5 years younger than me. So she was only like 21, 22, and I was like 25, 20. So I was like, oh,
Oh,
wow, she's so young and da da da. But she's such an old soul. I mean, we hit it off. But I will say it took time. Like we weren't as close as we are now then. Like we got along and we had fun and we liked each other, but our relationship has changed so much over the years through all of our stages of life from, being friends to now where I truly feel like she's family. So it's interesting to kind of just think back of like how friendships evolve. What are your thoughts on that?
yeah. agree that I have friendships that have evolved quite a bit. I think especially since becoming a mom, but even
Mm,
through the different seasons of life, it's interesting. Like if I think about how my friendships have changed since becoming a mom, say there's a few things. Like my availability and my capacity have changed quite a bit. Like I think back to just everything we were going through with Zoe and then being pregnant with Parker and then getting ready to move back here. For those 3, 4 years, I was in straight up survival mode, and
yeah.
so I didn't have a lot of capacity to give. I have friends that are just, like, in constant communication or would wanna, like, gut check, you know, an outfit or gut check whatever it may be, and not that that's not important and great, but I think, like, I truly physically did not have the capacity to give my time or energy to certain conversations, and so I think I pulled away a lot.
I look at it from two different perspectives because I was the last one to have kids. And so I was the one who was, "Hey, how's this outfit? Like the doorknobs on this house are ugly. What do you guys think about this one?" Like I I was that friend that was trying
Okay.
to keep the conversation alive with my mom friends. On the other hand, I also have experienced what you're talking about, which is this like capacity. I have become the worst texter. I have become the worst responder in the sense of the quality of my response. Sometimes I'm just like, yep, instead of if this was pre-kids, I would have actually maybe sat and,
Yeah.
had this thoughtful response, but I'm just kind of like, yeah, nope, sounds good. I'm going to put myself on blast, which I love to do here. But it's one of those things where it's like, "Oh, man, I wish I knew then what I knew now." I had a group chat with friends, and they all were moms. I was not, but I was either, like, about to be pregnant or just pregnant. I can't really remember, but I just remember being so hard on them or unforgiving. Like, I felt very much you should be responding to me. Like, I don't expect necessarily in 5 minutes, but come on, we're best friends. This is what best friends do. And one of those girlfriends really had a hard time just keeping up. Like, to your point, what you were saying, she would
Yeah.
just go silent for a week and then come back to the group and be like, "Oh my gosh, catching up, da 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 da." And I remember it got to a point where so now I'm pregnant, I'm moving to Texas from Chicago. I think she reached out to me and she's like, "Hey, how are things?" I sent her a picture of the sonogram. I sent her a picture of the house being built, and I was like, "So many great things." And then I didn't hear back from her for 3 months. And then
Wow.
she just texted me like, "Oh my god, da da da," and I was hurt. I was like, "Hey, I feel like you're abandoning me." She was also hurt because she's like, "Look, I've got kids. I'm trying to start a business. Like, this isn't malicious. Please give me
Yeah.
some grace." And it was uncomfortable, and it wasn't until I became a mom that I could understand. But I carried a lot of guilt about all that because I know I hurt her a lot too, in the sense of, well, if you're not gonna be my friend, I'm not gonna be yours kind of thing. And I pulled away. And I wish I could go back and do things differently, but it's easy to say now because all my friends are moms for the most part, and so I don't feel like I have to explain myself to my friends when I don't text back
Yeah.
for 3 days. I think that we're less maybe dependent on each other's immediate availability, or this is what I'd say, it's less quantity and it's more quality, in my opinion. For example, I don't need to talk to Katie every second of every day,
Yeah.
but I can call her and be like, "I need you," and she stops what she's doing and she helps me. Like, that to me is what a mom friend or what the change that has happened since becoming a parent has turned into versus like in my mid-20s when it was like, "Bitch, where were you last night? Like, you didn't get drinks with me? I'm pissed." Like, maybe a lot more surface level.
Yes. Surface level, I'm glad you said that because I think I feel maybe a little bit of guilt that I don't have as much of a tolerance for surface level conversations anymore. If I'm spending my time and energy on a friendship or relationship, I I need it to go deeper. I need to feel supported. I need to feel empathy or just like shared experience it is exactly what you're talking about of like there's just an understanding and it is quality over quantity and I think it's also interesting because again I've like talked about this in therapy of like meeting new friends and what friendships mean if I'm investing the time in a friend I want it to have different flavors and layers. But the reality is, like, some friends aren't meant to be like that to you, and I think I struggle with that because I'm like, "Well, is it worth the time? Like, just to have a cool, you're maybe fun to hang out with. We're never gonna
Yes.
talk about anything more than just,
Yes.
like, the weather or, surface level kids conversations." I know every friendship is meant to serve different purposes, and I think I struggle with understanding and allowing that to be the case. And maybe it's because I only have a few super close friendships that I feel like can go deep that I'm like, do I feel like I'm missing something?
I relate so much to that. I have a hard time with small talk, surface level. Like, my worst nightmare is going to a place where I just have to just, like, shoot the shit with people. Like, I'm just like, "Oh my god, I'm just too tired for this." But I'm fueled by deep, meaningful conversation. Like, that is actually what recharges my battery, which is so ironic because I feel like there's a ton of people who would say the exact opposite, like, "Oh my god, deep conversations just drain me. Can we just keep it light? Can we keep it fun? Why does it have to be?" But I'm with you, like, they're just if I'm not getting anything meaningful, it's kinda like, what's the point? How but I also agree with what you're saying, that you're right, not all friends are like that, or they're not meant to serve us like that. What's funny and something that I've had to work through in therapy is I associate warmth of a person with the ability to connect with them. Meaning, if I meet somebody and they're a little, I don't know, standoffish or not as warm and fuzzy, not quite so like
Introverted.
introverted. Thank you. Thank you. I think I struggle to feel vulnerable because I tell myself they must not like me. They're
Mm.
not into me because if they were, they'd smile more or they'd laugh at my jokes. I felt uncomfortable to try and forge forward that friendship. And, it came down to like, Debbie, obviously, you feel safe when you meet people who are warm because it's more welcoming. I have something to actually judge and say like, "Okay, they're clearly like they like me, I like them, this is great, we're gonna form a friendship." But when they're not giving me anything, I go to the worst case scenario, and it's all in my head. Like, I think you and I have a perfect example of I think you're a little bit more introverted and I'm way more extroverted. And, our friendship like, look where we are and where it got to and how it evolved over time.
I want to go back to 2 points you made because I think one was if somebody is a little bit more maybe reserved or introverted, like
Observed.
you don't feel as maybe willing to extend the olive branch or kind of test the waters because you want somebody warm. And I think that like is a big, big piece for me that I'm like, I am more on the reserved side when I'm first meeting people. Because it's funny, I don't think any of my friends would call me an introvert, but I need to learn to be the one to extend that olive branch. And I think Mel Robbins, her podcast, her books, like she talks about that. It's like, if you want to talk to someone, if you want to try and make friends, you might have to be the first one to extend that invite or be the one reaching out. And it might be for a while that you're doing that. And I think we've been conditioned to believe friendships need to be like 50-50 reciprocal, and they don't like me if they're not trying to invite me places or reach out. But
Yes.
it could just be their capacity, their comfortability.
Yeah.
On the other side, I think what you said about, do they like me? I think that's very real. And I think there's almost another level of acceptance we need to have of, we might not jive.
You
And
know.
it feels like a personal attack, but like we joke about, you got to date your therapist, like you got to date your
Yeah.
couples therapist. And it's like the same thing. Like we're all just trying to see if there's a connection or something there. And I'm not good at it. Like, I would be in the same boat as you of like, "Oh, they don't like why don't they like me?" But it's fair. Like, it's just, I mean, we joke about it all the time. Like the parents at daycare or like the people we see out, they're like, "No, not for me."
No, that's such a good point, and it actually lends itself to kind of another extension of this topic, which is just this extreme vulnerability that I felt after becoming a mom that I didn't feel meaning this this question of, do they like me? That was amplified, and it was not just in the sense of personality per se, like, do they like my personality, but do they think I'm a good mom? Do they think I'm a shitty mom? Do they like, I have this, and I say have as in current because it's still something I deal with, this unrealistic fear of being judged as a mother. I hold friendships so high. To me, they're superior. They're up here. And then comes our spouse. Right? I mean, true. To me, friends are just everything. I think because I put all my weight or put all my eggs in that basket, I am so afraid of being abandoned by them or being judged. Chris would all the time be like, "Why don't you invite Maddie over for a drink? Why don't you reach out to Elise?" Like, and I'd be like, "Because what if they say no? Like, what if they don't want to?" Like, what? I'm like a 32-year-old. Why am I such a child when it comes to this? But it's because of this intense fear of rejection. And I wasn't sure if I'm going to say you as in the general, but like, I wasn't sure if you liked me enough. I just didn't know. Like, yeah, we were cool and we got along and we had conversation, but would you want to come over and have a drink with me? I don't know. And I was too scared to put myself out there in the fear of being rejected. My mom would be like, "Well, why don't you have play dates?" And this is where my brain would go. This is crazy talk. Like this, I'm really exposing my crazy side right now. But I would be like, what if I don't have the right snacks? What if I don't have like fun enough toys and the kids are bored? What if I'm just a horrible host and they're sitting there like, "Ooh, this is horrible. Why am I over this girl's house?" Like, I think it also came after I had kids because I was starting from scratch. I didn't have friends in
Mm.
Texas. Every friend I made was new. So whereas if I had stayed in Chicago, I wouldn't have felt that way with my friends that I already had because they know me. You know, if they came over and my house was a mess or I didn't have food for them, I'd be like, "Dude, sorry. If you're hungry, like we can order something," you know? But with new
Yeah.
friends, I wanted to impress. I wanted to make a
Yes.
good impression. And what a sad, sad place to be because A, I know for a fact, because we've all talked about it. I think I've talked about it with all of you because we all became really good friends. And every single one of you were like, "Are you like, what?" You know? And so I know it's all in my head, but I'm sure that it prevented me from getting close to people or, from opportunities. So if anyone else feels like that, I sure hope you don't. But if you do, snap out of it, sis. It's only holding you back. It's not helping. I promise you, it's not helping.
Being on the other side of that, because I did experience our friendship and us growing closer in Texas, I would have never known. I would have never known, and I'm sorry that that's how you felt because, I think a lot of people probably feel like that. I think I still do this today of, like, lowering the barrier to entry and what's something,
Mm.
like, easier if I want to reach out to someone. Do I even want to involve the kids from the start? What if the kids don't get along? Like, what if it's more
Yeah.
stressful? And I don't necessarily want you to come to my house. Like, that feels,
Right.
like, very intimate. Like, can we meet out
Intimate.
somewhere? So I can very much relate, and I'm glad that you're have worked through that, and I'm sure there's still
Yeah.
pieces where that, like, comes out and you feel that because I do. I have similar feelings on that, and I don't know why we put that type of pressure on ourselves
I
because it's like,
know.
at the end of the day, I want you to like me for who I am, not who I'm trying to pretend to
Yep.
be in the first place, and so, hey, maybe that's the best way to, like, weed out the shitty people we're not gonna connect with anyway.
On that note, another reason of this fear of being vulnerable is because I have been burned by people in the past, friends very, very close to me. And going back to what I was saying about, like, I value friendships so high that when those friendships end because they needed to, or because one of us broke up with the other, whatever the case, when I lose a friendship, it cuts so deep because you can choose your friends, right? Like with family, it's like, oh, this is my family. You don't really have a choice. Can't really leave your family. You can, but you know what I'm trying to say. But when friends choose to evict you from their lives, it's in my experience, it's heartbreaking. And this just goes back to my own trauma. So bear with me. But like to me, a loss of a friendship puts so much emphasis on what's wrong with me. Why wasn't I good enough? Like, what did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? Like, I must suck. I must suck as a person. I feel more like that with friendships than I do with relationships. A guy and I like were talking and it dissolved. I wouldn't be like, oh, what's wrong with me? I'd be like, he's an asshole or like his loss, he sucks, whatever. But with friends, it was like,
So interesting.
right? Isn't that interesting?
And I say that because I maybe, again, have a different perspective of, like.
This is what's good, though. This is why we make such a good pair because we have different perspectives. Nobody wants to hear us talk about the same shit all the time.
Yeah. So I grew up and, everybody always said, like, "Keep your girlfriends close." Like, your girlfriends are, like, the most important. All the sayings, like, "Hoes before bros," all the things. And I almost feel like, again, I was sold a lie there of once I met Tyler, like, Tyler literally is my best friend, and I would choose probably 9 times out of 10 to spend time with him
Mm,
over my other friends, which maybe I'm the minority in that.
I think you are. No, I don't know. I don't know. I maybe it's not a minority, a majority, but I guarantee you there's a split on that
Yeah.
feeling.
No, I bet you're right. And so I guess I felt similar because you spend your life with this person and you're told that you need to hold your girlfriends in a different, light or standard. And I was just like, that it felt so mixed. And not that I don't value my friendships outside of my relationship, but I do think it's interesting because I don't feel the weight of the world
Mm.
on my friendships because of that, perhaps, but, like, I do struggle with the quality over quantity because my circle has gotten a lot smaller, and I think social media doesn't help, like, you thinking like, "Oh my god, what am I doing wrong?" Like, I see all these people going on trips with their friends or, they are going out to dinners or happy hours or whatever it may be with, like, all these people, but then you have to, think to yourself, maybe they're just having surface level conversations. Maybe they're not having deep, meaningful connections with these people. Maybe they're feeling the same things we're feeling, and it's like this constant battle of probably just looking internally at what you truly need, which is annoying that that's life, but it's it's hard.
It is. And I laugh because going back to you'd rather spend time with your husband than your friends. I don't wanna say it so bluntly or so, like, harshly as, like, "Oh, I'd rather spend time with my friends." I think what it is I get different things from my friends than I get from Chris,
Yes.
and it's not his fault. I think the way men are wired, like, they are. They're just like a different species sometimes, it feels like. And this is a hot take, but the older I've gotten, the more I'm like, why are women supposed to be with men? I feel like women should be with women. Like, not like I truly.
Yeah.
I say that because, and I'm going to take kind of a step back here. My whole life, that since I can remember, I have felt misunderstood in my family. I was always felt like the black sheep. I was always the one with the big emotions, and I was always the one who would take offense to things when it was supposed to be a joke, and I think because of that, I seeked understanding outside of that unit,
Mm.
and so when I met people who what I felt like understood me or related to me or accepted me, it was like I clinged on to that for dear life. I was Parker and Zoe, like, clinging on to
Yeah.
you getting dropped off at daycare. I was like, "I love this feeling. I love this safety. Do not leave. Like, do not go away," because it just felt so good. And I didn't feel like that with everybody, right? I think back to college. I had a ton of friends. I was in a sorority, so there was just so many friends, and it's like, yeah, I don't talk to 99% of them anymore, and it was like no love lost. Yeah, we had fun in college. Thanks for the memes.
Yeah.
Godspeed. I'll like your Instagram posts. But it's those deep connections for me that I think, to your point, either like evolved for the better or if there was a breakup. And those are the ones that I think killed me the most because when I lost that feeling of, oh my God, I don't have anybody who understands me. Because let's be honest, Chris doesn't understand me. He doesn't. He does his best.
Tries.
And he tries
Yeah.
to be there for me, but he doesn't understand why I get emotional over things. He doesn't understand why I'm so sensitive to things. Katie does. You do. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I think it just comes back to, like, what do I need out of a friendship? What does that friendship give me? And for me, it is that. It's that understanding, it's that acceptance.
That's very valid. I think you think about it the right way. Cause again, going back to my 8 rules of love book, Jay does. He talks about that your romantic relationship cannot be the only source of love and connection. And so I think you've done a great job, obviously, of finding connection outside of that. I think that's an area for growth for me of expanding my love outside of that because probably it's like it's comfortable and it's easy and I am
Well
more reserved and
well, and if also, again, if you're getting what you need from Tyler, it I could understand why you're not seeking it elsewhere. I don't necessarily get all of the emotional n I don't get my emotional needs met from Chris, so I have no choice but to wanna find it somewhere else. So I don't necessarily think it's like you're doing something wrong per se. I think it's just like go Tyler, you know? He's just checking all the boxes.
I mean, I don't know about that. I still definitely outsource, for sure. But I want to also go back to this kind of friendship breakup and feeling abandoned piece because I want to hear what that actually felt like and why you think potentially it might have happened.
Oh boy. All right. You guys ready for this? Buckle up. No, I'm kidding. Um, I have had, I would say, maybe like three-ish pretty bad breakups. And all of them were, I feel, led by the other person. If I had my way, we would still be friends. I can go back as far as college of a friendship that ended that meant so much to me. And I'm laughing because she and I have weirdly reconnected over the years through Instagram. And so I know she's listening to this and I know she knows who I'm talking about. But we had talked even of just like, that sucked that that happened. Like we both look back and say like, damn, who knows what we would have done together had we stayed friends, but guys got in the way. Boyfriends. Like really, I mean, we're what, 18, 19 in college? Like of course we're letting these stupid guys manipulate us and making us poor decisions. So that was that reason, but I can tell you that was the first, I would say, big just dagger to the heart I've ever felt in terms of a friendship. And I truly believe it was nothing more than just being young and malleable and just not really like knowing any better, you know? But it is funny now how we can like just randomly catch up and talk. And I'm just like, this is weird, but fine. It's
Yeah.
just goes to show that evolution never stops, right? So that's kind of where it all started. And then Katie and I also had another friend. It was like the three of us. We were the three girlfriends of the guys, and we were all so close. And then the third friend, she was cheated on. That was a really hard dynamic to navigate because, I mean, think of it like Friends. I feel like I talk about Friends in every episode, probably because I've been binge watching it because it makes me so
I
happy.
love it.
But
Yeah.
think about Friends, it was like when Ross and the Rachel, when they were on a break kind of thing. Remember when they were, like, trying to choose, and it was this really horrible rupture in this group of friends? It was like that, except it wasn't a TV show, and we didn't just all bounce back. It was our reality, and so we obviously prioritized our girlfriend and kind of annexed the guy. We're like, "Fuck you," like, you know? How dare you do that to her? And over time, we're like, okay, I mean, we can't like leave him out forever, I guess, right? He has a history with Chris and Nate, like they go way
Yeah.
back. And so to just be like, you can't be friends with him because he cheated on my friend felt unfair to my
Yeah.
husband. And so that, I mean, to her defense, like I don't blame her, but she just couldn't continue being like part of this group of friends knowing he was gonna be around and it just got too, I think, muddy.
Yeah.
And so she had to exit the friendship and it hurt because I guess the way I looked at it was like, well, why can't we be friends outside of the guys? Why can't we just have our girl friendship?
Yeah.
But even that, I think she just needed like a clean break. And
That's
it sucked,
fair.
but again, so okay, so we're 2 for 2 with guys now.
Right. Well, no, I think it's interesting because you have specific examples of events or things happening that led to this friend breakup. And I think
Yeah.
that sort of differs from what I've experienced
Mm,
because I think mine have been more of like just a growing apart.
mm,
And there was definitely things probably on both sides that we did or didn't do. Like, thinking back, I think I can take some ownership of either a lack of support or just not wanting to have direct, meaningful conversation about it, or the other person like holding a grudge or just not having capacity to give more than what they're giving. And I think it's super interesting because I don't know that there was a specific event that I can point to. I think it was just a bunch of little things probably that just either our values or priorities or goals were kind of shifting that then one or the other person kind of just started to step back a bit more and a bit more, and I think that's been my experience, and it has been because of the different seasons of life that one or both of us have been in, or just, like, when you go to therapy and you work on yourself and your values change or you just feel so much more grounded, it's like, I am not the same person, and I think there's a lot of times where our friends don't accept or celebrate the new version of ourselves that we are. And so going back to your connections and your relationships, like I think there is something to be celebrated about the friends who have been through all of the seasons, have cheered you on, have supported you unconditionally, celebrated the wins, been there for all of, the low points in your life. That's very rare. And I'm trying to accept more that this like growing apart, and it's not even like I want it to be this event that happens where it's a breakup, but I almost feel like sometimes there's weights or anchors on me that are holding me back from breaking free from something that's no longer serving me.
There's no closure.
Yes, and so you just feel like you're kind of in this limbo of
Mm.
it doesn't feel the same that it used to. I'm not the same person I used to. I think you're holding on to this other version and you're just kind of like in this awkward stuck place.
What is your longest friendship?
Bridget and I met in preschool.
Wow.
Yeah, so we were how old are
That's
you? 3? 3 years
that's a
old.
long time.
We went to all the same schools, and we even went to the same college. And we both
Were
married a Tyler from that
that's
same college.
that's actually hilarious. Were you
Yeah.
guys always best friends, or were you just friends and it, ebbed and flowed?
Always best friends. I think, like, our core groups used to be a lot more shared, and then I think college, we, like, stayed close, but our circles kind of went different ways, and so we have different circles from college, which is interesting,
Mhm.
that we stay close with, but yeah, I mean, through it all, she literally has been there through everything and still would call her my best friend and my go-to today.
Go Bridget. We know you're
Yeah.
listening. She's a big
She
supporter of the
she
pod.
is,
We
she
love
is.
you. You had me beat. I thought I might have had you beat. 3rd grade was my friend
Okay.
Jackie is my oldest friend. But the reason I ask is because what's so interesting is so I have 2 childhood friends that I still talk to, and we're the type of friends that we absolutely adore each other, love each other, call each other every year on our birthdays. We call each other to tell the other that we're pregnant or that right, like there's so much love, but we go weeks, months, years sometimes without talking. And it doesn't affect us at all. We will call each other. Haven't talked to you in a year and a half, get on the phone, and we are just catching up like it was the other day. And it's
Yeah.
just fascinating to me how some friendships, like, why am I okay with that? But my other friend I was alluding to earlier, we would go 3 months without responding. I was hurt. Isn't that
Yeah.
interesting?
It is. It is because I have friends like that too. It's like we don't have to be in constant communication. We don't see each other for a while, but then we do. We pick right back up where we left off. If I like take myself out of the situation, I think there's maybe this holding on to an old version of them or the relationship where you do
Mm.
hold them to a different standard.
Mhm.
Because if a friendship's built on that closeness but casualness, it can withstand a lot more. Whereas, like, if you started out attached at the hip, telling each other everything, and then
Mhm.
these different seasons happen and you feel like you're a different person and you're all just kind of like living these parallel lives, it's almost like you can feel it in you that you feel there's supposed to be this closeness and connection that has changed or maybe isn't as strong as it used to be?
I totally agree. When I'm thinking of my friends, we weren't having deep conversations in 6th grade. Right. I mean, maybe we were, but they weren't actually deep. We were talking about my first crush, another Chris, who didn't like me, and changing the color of my braces that week. But you're right. Like my college friends and post-college friends, they started off so intensely of, like you said, connection and closeness and being there for each other, especially in college, I would say. So you're right. I think that distance felt foreign. It felt uncomfortable. Whereas our lifelong friends were used to this. Actually, kind of makes me feel better. So thank you. Friends come into your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. It's true. And
It
I
is
would say that I'm starting to get better at accepting that versus like looking it as a fault of my own, of just saying, you know what? We served each other for the time that we had. Something that Debbie and I have talked about too, like going back to how I've always just wanted to be accepted. I've always wanted to be somebody's number one. Something she said to me that was really powerful was it doesn't have to be one person that fulfills all of your needs. It doesn't have to be one friend. You get a slice of pie from every friend that fills up that whole pie. And when she explained it to me like that, it really, I think it took the pressure, I think, a lot off of just one or two friendships to be like, you know what? They're just they're just doing their best too, you know?
totally. Yeah, I think that's a super important piece of giving ourselves grace, giving our friends grace, and if something feels off or like you're missing something, I think the other trap is you get in your own head about it and you don't just have a conversation about it. Like if
I
it's
know.
bothering you,
I know.
"Hey, I used to love that we did X, Y, and Z, or I'd get X, Y, and Z from you. Why are we so afraid?" I mean, we talked about it on like the marriage and relationship episode about how important communication is.
God, I just wanna go hug all my friends now. Right? Like, I just wanna send them all a text
Yeah,
and be like, "I love you." Like, they're just such an important part of our lives.
you should. I forget if I was reading something or it was like, why don't we tell people how much we appreciate what they give to us or how much
Yeah.
the relationship means? Like, that would make me smile.
Maddie, I love you.
I love you, Gina.
Oh, man, this was good. I'm really glad we talked about this, and it's funny how we go into these odd episodes, and I swear I leave, like, feeling like I just left therapy. Like, I feel like I have a different perspective or I've, like, released something that I was harboring, so thank you.
I agree. Should we probably shouldn't tell our listeners that this is just for us. It's not for you. It's for us.
Yeah, truly. We just put it online so that people don't think we're, like, weirdos and just record our own sessions. Well, on that note, should we end with our joy of the week?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, as you know, I've been, like, down and out the last few days. Leo has been so adorable and just, like, such a little caretaker. So last night I was just in bed, I was dying, and he came in my room before bed and was like, "Mommy, are you okay?" And I was like, "Buddy, I'm okay. I just need like one more day." He's like, "I'm gonna bring you some stuffies." And so he went in his room, brought me some stuffies, and he has a cozy pillow and a cozy blanket. I can't remember if we talked about this before, but it's like his security blanket, if you will. But we can't touch it because we'll get rid of the cozy. We have to hold it by the corner. He's very particular. He gave me his cozy blanket. That to me was such a sacrifice. And then he goes, "Mama, I need you to sleep. You got to get some good sleep tonight." And I said, "Okay, thank you. I will try." And he goes, "So just promise me you're not going to wake up." And I was like, "Well, hopefully I wake up at some point, but not until tomorrow." And then he goes, "Okay, I'm going to go because I know you need to sleep now." And I said, "Okay, buddy, I love you." Like it was just, oh
Mm,
my God, it just made me so happy. He's just such a sweetie.
he is. I'm gonna go non-kid related for my joy, I think. I haven't talked about Orange Theory in a long time. It just
Oh,
feels wrong. Um, but because it's winter, I haven't been able to do my, like, beach walks, so I've been leaning in more on the Orange Theory side, and I've just been feeling good and strong and pushing myself in new ways, and it makes me feel good. This is another crazy thing. I don't know if we've actually talked about this. I can't even say it correctly, the diastase recti.
yes, I know what you're talking about. The ab separation.
Yes. So, like a year and a half out, I still had a two-finger separation. Yeah.
Did somebody tell you that or can you tell yourself?
I can tell myself, and I
How does
did
what does that
you
feel like?
like, if you, like, go above your belly button, like, a little bit
Mhm,
higher than above your belly button, and you, like, flex or kinda, like,
mhm.
contract your core, feel down and see if you can fit a finger or 2 fingers in between your abs. If you can't, it's closed.
Yeah, I can't. Like a hole?
Yeah, like, I literally if I
Oh my god.
yeah, I know. It's
Okay,
awful. So
no, I
I
don't have that.
lucky. Okay,
I'm
so I had
sorry.
a 2 finger, and then I was, like, so determined. I was like, "I need to do something to close this gap." I've gotten it to 1 finger, but I finally this sounds so odd, but I feel my core, like, engaging more when I'm working
Yeah.
out. So I'm like, fingers crossed that there's hope because it
Yes.
says sometimes they don't close. It
Wow.
stays like that. Um, so
Okay,
anyway,
now
went off on a tangent, but my joy is that my abs are coming back together.
yay! That's so great. I really am so happy for you.
2.5 years later, my body's coming back
The
together.
shit that we have to freaking deal with, man.
Yeah.
So, over Christmas, I had time off work. I finally got the Peloton out, dusted that off, and I was like, "I'm ready to go." Well, guess what? I've been sick since then, and I I told Chris, I'm like, "The universe just doesn't want me to work out. I'm meant to just be lazy forever." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm sure that's what it is, Gina." But I really am envious of just being able to say I feel strong. I wanna feel strong.
Hey,
I'm gonna go try to do a workout. Maybe not
I love that.
today because 'cause I'm still recovering, but Saturday or Sunday.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Like,
Feels good.
next month.
Yeah. What one day I will do it. No, you will. You will. You will get there.
Manifest.
Yes.
Well, congrats on your abs. I can't wait to hear when it goes
If
down to
if
0.
there's any, like, pelvic floor specialists, PTs, OTs, anyone listening, tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Do you watch YouTube videos and
I
TikToks and
have.
stuff? Okay.
I also used, ChatGPT as
I
my
was just
coach.
gonna say, well, you know what I would recommend.
I do. I, like, give them all the context. I'm like, "This is where I'm at. This is what I'm trying to do. This is my daily," and, they build plans for me, so we're
If you're already down though to 1, it sounds like you're in the right direction, so I say keep doing what you're doing.
thank you.
As always, it's so great catching up. Can't wait till we do it again next week.
And that concludes your free therapy session, brought to you by two people with lots of opinions and zero certifications. Don't forget to bill your insurance, emotionally or otherwise. And be sure to follow us on Instagram at GraceWhoPod. That's Grace, WHO Pod.
Tune in next time for another deep dive into something we'll probably overthink and under-resolve. And while our search for grace continues, let's at least try to find a little joy in between.